This is an SM Media production. Hi everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Scottish Football Show right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike, here again as a host, delighted to be joined again by Mark Wilson. Mark, how are we doing?
Yeah, great, thanks Scott. I've a busy day of football, so I'm all clued up for tonight's show.
Brilliant. Mark Shankland, the Auchinleck Talbot Hitman's back on. How are we doing, Mark?
I am good, Scott.
Brilliant. And we're joined this week by a very special guest. Mark Roberts has called him his right-hand man in the Air dressing room. And I've also been told he's the Phoenix Knights genius. Knows every line of Phoenix Knights. Former Morton, former Livingston, former Airman, Scott McLaughlin. Scott, thanks very much for coming on, mate. Pleasure to have you.
No, good to be on, mate. Good to be on.
How are you? You good?
Very well, thank you. Very well. All the better seeing me Shankers down there.
You retired at the end of August. What have you been up to?
Not a bit running, mate. Just running.
Running?
Off the lockdown. Run every single day. That's what I give myself right in it, running.
Miss playing?
Nah, I don't miss playing at all. I'm doing agent work as well now.
Are you?
Alongside, I've been a personal trainer for over 3 years as well, so tying the two of them in together. No, I've not really missed playing at all. That's probably why I chucked it. See, all lockdown, I didn't miss it at all, so I thought, what's the point of carrying on?
Still, how many times you watched back Phoenix Knights over lockdown?
To be fair, I watched it once. I found it in a Gabby link. I just sat in my bed and watched it one day.
Alan Mahood says you're the Kenny Junior that has Kenny Senior. What would you say to that?
Nah, we were more Kenny Senior to be fair to each other.
Brilliant. Right, we'll start off. Friday night was a big night for Scottish football this week. Obviously, the 4 games on Friday night. We'll start off with a big game. Aberdeen won 2-0 against Hibs. They went to third in the league with 26 points. Scott Wright and Sam Cosgrove got the goals. Shankers, I just want to start with you. Like, obviously, Aberdeen flying. They're now second strongest start we've had in 20 years. Like, how well are they playing and what were your kind of thoughts in the game?
They're obviously doing well and they're probably the best of the rest of now, apart from the old firms. So I'm not surprised to see them winning there. Hibs obviously off the back of losing the semi-final. They're a wee bit down, so it's probably a good time for Aberdeen to get them. I watched the game back, and what I took for it, I don't mind teams playing it at the back and whatnot when it's right, but Aberdeen's 2 goals came for defenders trying to play it and the bogging through it, and Aberdeen eventually scored 2 goals. Only 2 shots on target all night, and it was 2 goals, and it came for 2 Hibs mistakes. So Hibs will probably be looking back disappointment for that, but they never really caused Joe Lewis any problems in the Aberdeen goal. But other than that, there wasn't much in the game. It was two sloppy mistakes for Hibs, and that's where the goals have came from.
Aberdeen have been playing pretty well. Like, as I say, second strongest start we've had in 20 years. They're playing good football. Like, Cosgrove's back. Like, how big a presence is he? Like, I'll throw this to you, Scott and Wilson. Like, how kind of important is Cosgrove to that team and getting goals for him?
I think it's good to have a target man or a focal point somebody hit, because I quite like the boy Hedges. When he comes in after right and he's whipping balls in towards what you're wanting, somebody like Cosgrove to get on the end of, I think. So he was a miss for them when Cosgrove wasn't playing. But I think they showed they've kind of get goals out of the park now when they're not just relying on one person now.
Scott Wright's another one that's impressed me. Like, he's been really, really solid, and just even against Celtic, I thought he come on and made a massive difference. Like Wilson, who's kind of like Hibs as well. We'll touch on Hibs in a wee second, but how important are like just having the creative players for Aberdeen? Like now, when that's probably been a criticism of Aberdeen the past couple of years. They've not been really creative, but now they're kind of getting there. I think a few players are making a difference.
I think they found the right balance with players as well. They got McCrory and Considine that do the kind of hard work and put in a shift. Ash Taylor, these kind of guys. But I think Sam Groves is a good asset, and it's interesting to see that there's still space, for a big target man striker. that's successful in teams, because obviously a lot of teams now are playing for the back and into feet, playing wide, etc. Whereas it still shows you it can be effective, and they've got Curtis Main in reserve as well, who's a handful. So again, I think Aberdeen, as Mark said, will be the best of the rest. But I say they'll be glad Sam Cosgrove's back, certainly.
Mm-hmm. A big result for Aberdeen, but Hibs as well been pretty flat. Like, is the the breaks came at the right time for them, Shankers? Like, just to get that kind of rest and get back to some sort of kind of form that they were in before the game against Hearts. To be honest, they were in pretty good form up until then, but they'll need that. I think they do need that kind of break. Do you not think that as well?
I think they do. As you said before Hearts game, I was on here and I was saying I thought they would be too strong for Hearts in that final, and I couldn't have been more wrong. But they'll not have many players going away in international duty, so maybe I don't know whether the manager will give them time off, or whether because off the back of a couple of results he'll still have them in working and things. But the break probably came at the right time off the back of 2 bad results for them.
Mm-hmm. We'll move on to one of our games. St Johnstone played Kilmarnock. It was terrible conditions, but St Johnstone get the 1-0 victory. Big win for St Johnstone, but we'll touch on Kilmarnock as well. Wilson, what were your thoughts of the game?
Again, it was a typical St Johnstone Kilmarnock game. It's a 0-0 or a 1 each usually. And I've said on this programme before that I don't fancy St Johnstone at all this season. I know it's maybe Callum Davidson's first season, but unfortunately Kilmarnock were really, really poor in long spells of the game, unfortunately. And that's now 3 games in a row, three defeats and no goals scored. I know, and to be fair, Alex Dyer and the team have taken a bit of bashing on social media since Friday. All sorts of polls and all that about but again, it's the same old story. Who comes in? Who can do any better with the resources you're given? But I think the biggest clamour is, again, to go try and play 2 up front. When they went 2 up front, they seem to be doing a lot better and just getting back to basics. But the one up front with the 2 wide players doesn't seem to be working. I know, but you always think the home games are important. Lost to Hibs at home. If you're getting off Rangers or Celtic, it's a bonus. But Kilmarnock really need to be going to St Johnstone and, at the worst, getting a draw. Because I do think in terms of personnel in the squads, Kilmarnock are miles ahead of St Johnstone, to be honest.
Giant conditions played a part in how the game went.
No, the conditions are the same for both teams, so it's not as if there was no fog when St Johnstone had the ball and fog when Kilmarnock had the ball. It's the same for both teams. You just need to deal with it.
Scotty, how hard's that to play in that kind of conditions? It must be brutal. It looked horrible.
Well, once you've played up Arbroath, you've seen everything, you know what I mean? So, I do not love summer's day compared to people that play for Arbroath, you know what I mean? So, as Mark says, but it's the same for both teams. You just need to try and, it's kind of who manage the conditions better than others, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Shankers, how big a win's that for St Johnstone? Me and you probably been more critical of how little they've kind of offered up front. But they looked good. McNamara scored the goal. How it put them up to 8. They look better. They look better going forward. Anyway, the past couple of games we've seen them.
They've got good players in forward areas like O'Halloran, Conway, players like that. In forward areas who can hurt teams. I've watched them a few times and they create chances. It's just obviously struggling to put the chances away. But as Wilson touched on for Kilmarnock, they should be looking to get points for St Johnstone. But St Johnstone should be the same. Like teams like Kilmarnock, they're both level in points now, but they need to pick up points for teams round about them. And obviously St Johnstone get 3 points here. Maybe that'll push them on a bit. The boy up McNamara is a good player. I've watched him a few times. He's impressive down that right hand side. Got a good engine. Yeah,
it was a good result for St Johnstone. Kilmarnock will be another team who kind of want the break. But we'll move on to the Ross County Livingston game. Scotty, your former team Livingston got a draw up in the Highlands. Old pal of the show as well, Nicky Devlin get the Livingston goal. Ollie Shaw scored for Ross County. The fans were in as well. What were your kind of thoughts in the game?
It's good. It's good that some punters are getting back in anyway, and hopefully that's the start of getting people back watching football again. But I think it's one of the ones you could kind of predict. You couldn't really pick a team to win. So a draw is probably one you'd pick. And I think it's a better point for Livy than it is for Ross County. Obviously, Ross County look to try and win their home games. And good to see Nicky getting a goal. Doesn't score very many, but I always like to see ex-teammates doing well. And there's a few up there like him and Wee Forrest. So always keep an eye on how they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Gary Holt's done a great job there, as well, just getting them organised. But I would say Ross County were pretty poor defensively, but when you're poor defensively, you need to have that threat going forward, and they just don't have that. It's just hard to see how Ross County don't finish in the either 10th, 11th or 12th. I just don't see them having the forward threat. Where did you kind of think of the game? Is they get anything else to add?
I think they're kind of chopping and changing their team a lot, Ross County. They've not really got a settled team. I mean, Midge Gardine's, I think he's their top man. He's been kind of in and out of the team. He'd be my first name in the team sheet every week for Ross County, because he is creative. He's always liable to go and make something happen. And I said he's kind of in and out of the team. They've not really got a settled 11 what they want to go with. Now you usually got a set 11. You go, right, that's my set 11. Then you chop and change for there. They've not really got that when they can go back to. They keep changing from week to week.
Mm-hmm. Wilson, Shankers, you just kind of want to talk about the game? Or?
Nah, I'll touch on Hamilton later on. We discuss that, but I fear for Ross County this year. I've said it on this show. I fear for them. As Scott mentioned, there's a better point for Livy, but Ross County, if they want to stay up, they need to be beating teams like Livingston and Hamilton, St Mirren, etc., especially in home games. Mm-hmm. But as I say, I think they'll be down, the relegation side of the league come the end.
Shankers, how important a point's that for Livingston? As I say, Nicky get the goal and they fought back well. They were struggling for large parts of the game, but they fought back to get a point. I think that's a good point for Livingston.
As Scott said, it's a good point. Away up there, that's teams that they'll be battling against to try and stay in the division, and they've got to, whether it's 1 point or 3 points, I think any point away from home to a team running about your kind of level in the league is a good point, and it could be vital come the latter stages of the season.
Definitely. The final game on Friday night was a boring 0-0 draw between St Mirren and Dundee United. St Mirren were obviously rusty after 4 weeks off with COVID, but they were the better team and probably should have got the victory. I worry for Dundee United if they're no firing. They've got 3 really good strikers in McNulty, Shankers and Clark, but did you think that was a fair result, Scotty? I just want to ask you, obviously, you would have played with Lauren Shanklin, wouldn't you?
Yeah. No, but I know him well. I know him really well. Great striker. Scores goals. Scottish internationalist. Like I said, there's plenty of goals in the team, so that's what I think will stand Dun United in good stead for the season. They have got goals in the team with him, Nicky Clark as well. Nicky scored. I played with Nicky Clark at Queen of the South. Yeah. Nicky will always get goals as well. At Murn, I think St Mirren, that's been their big problem. I can't remember the last time they actually had a proper 20-goal season striker. I think that's been a problem for years and years.
Barry Lavetti.
Big Barry Lavetti, man. What a no, but I think, as you say, go back, probably Big Tomo was the last one. Even before that was the big boy Higdon.
Mark Yardley.
Big Yardley. What a player he was.
But Dundee United, Dundee United as well, they weren't very creative. I just want to ask you, ask Wilson, do you think that was a fair result?
To be honest, I didn't see. I've not even seen the highlights of that game. Usually it's 0-0. I don't tend to watch it, but I was reading the paper today, and they were saying that there was no shots on target. Neither keeper made a save.
Was that right?
And I'm thinking, I'm glad I didn't watch it. The sports. That's 10 minutes of my life that I would never get back.
I'm glad they couldn't get in.
I think Shankers excellent. I really do. I would have loved at the time Kilmarnock to sign him. I think he's a really good player, a good athlete as well. But I think the United will be fine. St Mirren, I think they'll stay up. There'll be other teams below St Mirren, for that way.
Shankers, just before we move on to the games today, how your kind of thoughts of the game and how important is it for Dundee United and St Mirren to get the goals and get higher up the table, because I think that's where both teams are struggling right now.
I said start firing. I don't think they'll have anything to worry about. It's just, as I said, it's just whether they've got, like, they need somebody in behind them, maybe thread balls through, put balls in the box. I'm not really sure of their squad. I just know that if the front three get chances, they will get you goals. St Mirren coming off the back of a month off, it is hard. I know what it's like if you maybe say you've been at the team for 4 weeks and try to get back. So I can imagine what the full squad will be like if they're not played for a month and then coming into a game like that. But I think St Mirren could struggle this year. I seen at the start of the season, I think it was one of the journalists, Stan McManus or something, says St Mirren were top 6, but I think he's miles off it there.
Mm-hmm. Shankers, can you remember when we were here together and because I stayed in Paisley, you asked me to get the Paisley Pandas graph for you? Do you remember that, mate?
No, that must have missed it.
Autograph.
said quite a few daft things at that point.
Brilliant. We'll move on to what's been happening today. Like we'll start off at Fir Park. Thursday night, I was desperate to do an immediate aftermath of Thursday night's action in the Europa League just to get the opinion of Wilson and what went on. But Celtic, I just want to touch on it before we talk about the game. Like, what was your thoughts on Thursday night about the basically shambolic performance at home? There's no better word to say it than that.
It doesn't get any worse than that, to be honest. To be fair, I mean, they were absolutely terrible. However, I think Sparta Prague should have got a wee bit more kit. Do you know what I mean? I think when you think, oh, these good European teams, could come to Scotland, you think it's a formality they're going to get beat. They've got good quality players and they play at such a different style from, the Scottish way of playing. But it doesn't hide the fact that Celtic were absolutely atrocious, completely clueless. It was awful. And it's a shame for the coefficient that after Rangers' positive result, it should have been a win out in Portugal, but unfortunately it fell at the last. Portugal. It's Benfica.
But after that, like, how important is it they go to Fir Park today and win 4-1? Like, El Yunusi gets a hat trick. I thought Rogic ran the show. I thought it was good. I thought as well, like, but Motherwell had chances. But how important is that for Celtic to get that win?
Well, as I've said on here every week that I've been on, it should be the only priority that they have. But beating Motherwell is, it's paper over cracks for me, to be honest. Celtic and Rangers are judged on hopefully Champions League football, going far in the Europa League and beating each other. It should be for the resources and everything else. Going to Fir Park and winning should be run of the mill. And it's fine that maybe bought Neil Lennon a couple of weeks. But again, I hope folk don't look at it and say, oh, well, he didn't play Duffy today, so and they won. Well, he didn't play Greg Taylor for 3 games and he lost 3 games. Edward looks completely disinterested, even when he come on as a sub. And I don't know if you noticed, I was watching the game, and just before the 2 subs come on, he gave kind of El Hamed a wee pep talk, a wee cuddle round the neck, and Edouard just stood there, and Lennon didn't say anything to him at all. And you saw by his body language, his lack of work rate, there's obviously an issue there. Whereas it's possibly the same issue that Gerard and Morelos had, but that seems obviously to be sorted out, wanting away. But as I say, they should be no disrespect to Motherwell, but Celtic should be going there and expecting to win. And as I say, it's possibly kept Lennon a job till after an international break, because I did say after, I think it was the old Furman AC Milan defeat, that if Celtic, were going to press the panic button, today would have been the day. And they've got, a week of international, we got a new manager in, but then he'll be missing 13, 14 players away in international duty. But this would have been the time. So I think from now, Lennon will be the manager until January anyway.
Mm-hmm. Scotty, I want to touch on this with you as well. Like, see, when we've heard the kind of phrase, I don't agree with this phrase, like the manager's lost the dressing room and you're not playing for your manager and things like that. Like, see, when there is that kind of pressure on the manager, like, is it hard for the players to kind of pick themselves up? Or?
But it comes to that should be personal pride, especially playing for a big club like Celtic. You shouldn't need motivate half a manager. That should be enough that you're playing for Celtic to motivate yourself. I never played a game like that. Oh, I hope the manager motivates me today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just went out and you played your game, regardless. You know what I mean? Obviously, you played sometimes you knew the manager was under pressure, but you didn't try any less and try any harder. But see sometimes when the going's tough, you just can't run that extra yard. You just feel sluggish. You feel drained. Whereas the other hand, see if you're flying, you feel as if you could run all day and sprint and your touch is bang on. It's just there's a confidence issue, but to totally blame Everton on the manager is just it can't be done. Don't get me wrong, Lennon's obviously going to carry the can for it because it's his team and he's signed a big load of the players. I know that, but the players need to look at themselves as well. And I'm not talking about just Celtic. I'm talking about any club, any day. I mean, it's so easy to just blame the manager, but sometimes you need to. There's the old saying, you need to look in the mirror sometimes, and that's what you need to do.
But Scott, have you ever, and Mark, obviously the same question, have you ever been in a dressing room where there's obviously players that dislike the manager and they have down tools in games, and the reason is because they want the manager out or they're not getting a game consistently, whatever. Because that's, as an outsider, that's how it looks to me, that some of these players have down tools, and it won't be because of the money they're on or anything like that. There's obviously an issue with the manager.
But every team I've been at, no everybody can like the manager. No everybody can like other players.
You had to play when boys are down tools, and you're running a shopping and they're not doing much.
Me personally, right, I wouldn't let that happen. I wouldn't let somebody down tools. I'd have told them, Shankers would have told you yourself. If somebody down tools when I was there, Shankers, it wouldn't happen with them. I'm not saying but I wouldn't be afraid to tell them if they were, and see if they just keyed them out back. Oh well, I don't like it. I'd have just told them, well, beat it. Away you go then. But
as well as that, like I just thought, like Motherwell obviously, like as Motherwell shouldn't be fancying their chances when Celtic come to Fir Park, but Motherwell must have been right up for it today. Like they did look as active as you can, as they possibly could. Like Shankers, like how much confidence would Motherwell have been feeling going into that game, knowing how poor Celtic have been playing? And obviously you don't need to be a kind of expert to look in social media and see that there's disjoint all over the Celtic fans. Some of them don't want Lennon. Some of them feel that Lennon's carrying the can for the players, as Mark says, down in pools. Like, where did you kind of think of the way kind of Motherwell come out and had it? I would have said Motherwell would go, but I think Rogic kind of just ran the show. But I would say Motherwell did come out flying to start with.
I think there wasn't a better time to get Celtic off the back of a result like that during the week on your home patch, and you're thinking there is a chance here, but also on the flip side, you know that they're going to come out all guns blazing to prove a point, to tell the manager we want to be here, like we are playing for Celtic. So there is going to be a reaction, but I thought Motherwell did have a few chances, but once it's 2-0 against a team like Celtic, it is hard to come back into. Obviously, they come back at 2-1, but then they just got the park and see the game off. They did have a few chances here and there, but for me, there was always one winner once the 2 goals went in.
Mm-hmm. I just want to ask, I'll ask all of you this, do you think this just papers over the cracks and delays the inevitable for Neil Lennon?
I don't think it's inevitable, to be honest, but as I say, I think the result of the day has bought them time until January, because I think this if Celtic are going to do something, then I think this would be the ideal time. There's 3 international games coming up. I know a lot of the players will be away, but it would be the right time to get a new manager in, because it's the only chance you're going to get from now until January. So you can maybe bring in some more signings or whatever, which I don't necessarily think they need, to be honest. But as I say, I think it has saved his bacon to a certain extent for this. But I think, again, come the Europa League, if he drops any more points in the league or the gap's any bigger than 6 come January, I genuinely think Peter Law will pull the trigger.
Would you go with that, Scotty?
I don't know. It's hard to work out what goes on behind the scenes. So it's a hard one to answer.
seen Thursday night as well, like when obviously that obviously the thing with El Yunusi and his phone and that, like all that time, but Neil Lennon looked to me like exactly the same how he looked when he was going through the personal problems in his first reign. Like, he just looked like it was just getting far too much, and you can tell that. Like you touched on it last week, Wilson, like just how kind of not out his depth, but just how like
ingrained
how much the pressure was kind of getting to him. Like, I just think he'll carry the can, but it just seems as if it's so. Even the day obviously as a big win to kind of get the win on the board, but it's still, to me, it just seems it does seem inevitable, because you can't play the way they did on Thursday night and come out like what. As I said, I spoke to somebody today about it. What happens if he does go from now until he plays Rangers and wins every game in the league? And is everything rosy again, do you think, if he does that?
Oh, it'll come down to that Rangers game. And as I say, I think if they go 6 or more behind Rangers, then I think there'll be a change. I really do, and it's a gamble. It's a massive gamble to do it. But as I say, if the players have down tools, then you can't. I suppose you could, but you can't really sack players. You can't sack 5 or 6 players and then expect to play the Europa League and then league games on a Saturday. Plus, they've got the cups coming up. But as I say, I think we need to wait in January now before there's any big announcement.
Shankers, is there anything else you kind of want to add about the game and the situation itself?
I think the people need to remember, like they have games in hand which they're fully expected to win, and say they go and win them. It is only 3 points. It is only a game of football. Like that's all it takes. They're only 3 points behind if all goes their favour. So like there is that. Obviously the performances and that hasn't been up to the standard that they hope. But I don't think there's not a massive gap as of yet. It's 9 points, but they've still got 2 games in hand. So it is only 3 points if it goes in their favour. So I think it's not an overreaction performance-wise, but like as in the golfing teams, there isn't a difference. It's just like whether it comes January and like Sir Edward's out of favour, and not out of favour because obviously if he's firing, he is their number 9. But like if like so the day he's dropped, does the team change after the international break because they've won when him and Duffy's at the team? I don't know. It comes January. The some players want away if bigger clubs come calling. There's no really much bigger clubs than Celtic about. Like, but if a team like say in the French league, your Lyon or somebody like that comes calling for Encham or Edward, it obviously will get them thinking. But I think after today, international break might not be the worst thing for them, and I would fully expect them to come all guns blazing once they return.
Definitely. A team that were firing the day, Rangers went and battered Hamilton. Sorry, they went and absolutely annihilated them 8-0. It could have been a lot more. Shankers, how impressive for Rangers?
They were good. Listen, they've been good in previous games before, but without going and thumping somebody 8-0. But I think this result has been coming with chances. The way Rangers play, they create a lot of chances. I think a result like this has been coming, and today everything's just clicked into place. I thought Joe Aribo was excellent in the middle of the park. I think I've seen somebody else saying like we like Jack and Kamara playing at Ibrox against like one another. I think Gerrard's maybe realised they don't need to play two kind of players, like two kind of safe players who are just in there to keep the ball. Like Aribo and Arfield, they'll go and make runs into the box, go and make third man runs, create chances. I think when they're playing at home to something like that where they're going to be have all the ball, you do need to play two players that are going to commit themselves forward. But it's 8-0. It kind of says it all, really, doesn't it?
Scotty, like what about kind of yourself? Like, who can impresses you in that Rangers team?
I think they're doing well collectively, aren't they? They're another team that's got goals all over the park. I mean, I think Tavernier always impresses me. He's come on so much in the past even 6 months. See for the lockdown, just
he's just been outstanding, I think.
His goals and even his delivery into the box, takes all the set pieces and all that. He is a right good weapon that Rangers have got. But going on Hamilton, but to go and lose 8-0 is shocking. Do you know what I mean? You're going to Ibrox with no crowd there. It's different if there's a big crowd. I mean, I've took doings at Ibrox and Parkhead and there's been a big crowd and they've just been right up for it, and some players have maybe froze, but going there with no crowd and getting battered 8-0 is just, it is embarrassing for them.
Mm-hmm. Wilson, obviously Benfica were the first team in a long time to take three goals off that Rangers defence. What did you kind of think of their performance on Thursday night?
I think they just, Stephen Gerrard's interview after the game showed you how far they've came. Disappointed with a 3-each draw away at Benfica. And I think he just right. They were just a bit sloppy. I don't. As I said, most folk were saying you'd have taken a point beforehand, but it's definitely 2 points dropped. That, but smashing performance and say great for the coefficient. They've done so well in the Europa League so far. But touching on Hamilton, I would just relegate Hamilton just now. That's unacceptable. They would just relegate them now, and just play 11 teams in the league, because that's embarrassing. As Scott said, I think it's even embarrassing. It's humiliation, that. And I think Brian Reid, from what I've heard from people, he's a very good coach, etc. But I don't know whether Brian Rice, sorry, but off the field issues maybe have affected him, because I knew you're under a lot of pressure with that. But again, I always find that now. I know Rangers are much better than Hamilton Accies, so I don't doubt that. But again, that tells me that not 11, 16 Hamilton players are given their full guts to go there and get trampled 8-0. So I would just relegate Hamilton just now. Just put them away. They'll go anyway this year. They'll go anyway.
We've said that for 3 years and they've stayed up.
I know. They always seem to hang about, don't they?
They've got a distinct lack of experience this year, but
I thought that losing Darry McKinnon and Dougie Emery, I think, is massive to them. Not probably not on the par, but just in the dressing room. Bringing through young boys is fine as well.
And every Hamilton fan on Twitter saying that's a disgrace. He's your best player. He can't even get a game with under 20s at Kilmarnock, and you're thinking, how good must this guy have been? So just relegate them now. Let them find another McCarthy and MacArthur and Brian Easton and the likes. Just get rid of them now.
Mm-hmm. One thing that strikes me about Rangers, I've said repeatedly for a wee while, the recruitment's getting there. I just feel the squad depth now is so much better. They made 5 changes today, and I don't think it made the team any worse. I just thought that it was very, very good. Aribo's finding his form. I thought Roof was excellent. Another thing that strikes me as well is Balogun comes in for Hollander. Hollander was maybe a bit off the pace on Thursday night. Balogun comes in. When's the last time we could say the 2 first choice centre halves for Rangers are one of them's out of the team and somebody else comes in and just takes it as well and does really well? The squad depth's just a big thing for me, Shankers, and I just think as well that's going to be the difference this season. If they are to go on and mount a serious challenge for the league, I just think they've got so much more on the bench now. If they're needing a goal, they've got more options.
Obviously when they're playing Thursday, Sunday for 3-4 weeks in a row, it is good to have a squad like that where they can chop and change, and it doesn't really make too much of a difference to the 11 that's out there, which I don't think they've had in previous years. I think they've had loads of players, but no the quality. Whereas this year it was like for like in certain positions. The boy Zunga that came on the day at half time, I thought he was, for what you see, I mean, the game was dead and buried and Rangers would have had all the possession. It'll maybe be different to see him in a different game, but he was positive thinking. It every pass looked like a forward pass. He was trying different things, but as I say, the game is dead, so that's probably why he's like that. But will be interesting to see. But the squad will have a big part to play. Every single player in the squad will have a big part to play in the coming months and weeks. With fixtures midweek at the weekend, so everybody will have to chip in.
Definitely.
I think the big thing, Scott, is at the moment it looks as if Rangers are thriving under pressure, whereas Celtic are crumbling under pressure.
Yeah, I think that as well. I think Rangers are just playing with a lot of confidence, whereas Celtic potentially are. I don't agree with this not playing for the manager thing, because nobody can say if you're not playing, if Celtic were to go and if Neil Lennon was to lose his job, and then let's say, like we've heard the names, kind of Eddie Howe being linked, if Eddie Howe comes in or somebody like that comes in and the team starts firing, that's worse in my opinion, because that shows that if you're working for somebody and you're not giving 100% for them, and then somebody else comes in and you are giving your all, it's you that needs to take a look in the mirror, not the manager, in my opinion.
I 100% agree, but football players don't think that way. Football players think of themselves on these big contracts, etc. And that's, as I said, regardless whether they like the manager or not, Scott said you should be out there absolutely busting the gut, the privileged position that you're in. You should be out doing everything you can. But as I say, no one's going to convince me that none of those Celtic players haven't down tools, judging by the performances against Rangers, AC Milan, you're going to get beat anyway, Sparta Prague, and who's the other one that didn't play well against? Aberdeen, aye. So, and then even at Rugby Park at the kind of start of the season, you know, they weren't great at all. But that's the AstroTurf's fault again. That was
So we're joined this week by our special guest, Scotty McLaughlin. One of the few men who as humble as he is about winning a league cup. Like, talk us through your time at Livingston and winning the memories of lifting the League Cup that day, and who were the kind of best players in that team?
I was only 20 at the time, so it was long time ago. But at that time, I didn't appreciate to this day, I still don't really appreciate it, know what I mean? Because you think at that age, 20-year-old, you think it's going to happen every season that you're going to win cups like that, because it happened quite early on in my career. But what a day it was. But we had a right good side. So did Hibs. Hibs had a right good side. And we fancied our chances, because any time you're not playing against the Old Firm in a cup final, it's kind of 50-50 chance. Everybody was fancying Hibs. We only had 6,000 or something at the game, 6,000 supporters, and they filled the rest of the stadium. So they were going for the party, thinking they were going to roll us over. But we knew we had good players in that dressing room, and lucky enough on the day we won it.
It was Big Marvin just saying to everybody, keep believing. Was that just
Big Marv was just heeding everything in his way. Big Marv, I know. See, like with defenders, Big Marv can header it further than he can kick it. That is no even in debate. He used to tell him to put his boots on his feet and just, if the ball was his feet, because he was just an absolute animal in the air. And then when it was on the deck, he was oily gaff, trying to kick the ball, made it look so painful.
Was he one of the best kind of teammates you had, playing alongside?
Amazing.
Was he? Aye.
Amazing. Just such a just see what you see is what you get with a big man. Just the nicest big guy ever. An absolute gentleman. And I played with him later on at Clyde.
Aye.
I was always a bit of a mad bastard, so he knew me when I was younger. Then he was thinking I would kind of calm down as I got older, and he was like, "You're just exactly the same as you were." But no, what a guy, Big Marv, just such a nice big guy.
Aye. Who else were the kind of players in that team? Like kind of one always. David Fernandez. What
a player! Just so strong on the ball and linked up well. Derek Lilly played up front with him.
Yeah.
And him and Dale were some partnership. But the midfield is great. Midfield with Stuart Lovell, Lee Mako, Burton O'Brien.
He was good as well. I always liked him.
Really good player. And myself, I was in there as well. And Jamie McAllister on the left side. We played like 3-5-2, but we'd good foreign lads. The boy, Oscar Rubio, and another guy, Manu Dorado.
Yeah.
Big French guy. So we'd a good strong team.
Mm-hmm. You move on from Livingston to Morton. What were your Morton days like?
Well, I won a league at Morton, but it wasn't the best spell in my career. I didn't enjoy it. But I was a box-to-box midfielder, and when I went there, Jim McIntyre was looking for a holding midfield player, and I ended up. Hoodie was coming towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
So Hoodie was in there, and he wanted me to kind of play the role that Hoodie had played, like in a holding midfield, and it wasn't really my position. But if a manager asks you to do it, you go and do it, and I felt they never got the best at me, because I was always in getting in the box, arriving late and scoring goals, and I wasn't even allowed to do that. But like I said, I win a league playing that position, so I can't be too critical. I just feel I could have scored more goals and things like that. I mean, their punters aren't too fond with in there, but I've been doing scored a few goals against them. So.
But you'd spells it like Airdrie, Queen of the South, and Peterhead and Clyde. Like, what was your? Obviously, we'll touch on there in a moment. But what was your kind of favourite spell of your career, like there out of those kind of teams?
Airdrie, we won the Challenge Cup at Airdrie. We beat Ross County in the final. With loads and loads of good players there. Guys like Paul Di Giacomo, Simon Lynch, Joe Cardle, Steve McDougall, boys who went on to have really good careers, and obviously Jacko had a great spell at Kilmarnock before he came to Airdrie. I really enjoyed that. See, to be honest, but I enjoyed everywhere I went. Like, maybe no football-wise, but I enjoyed all the people I met through football. And for me, that's what football's all about: is meeting people and making memories with guys. See, when you go and meet people you played football with, you generally don't really talk about games. You talk about things that happened in the dressing room, or things that happened in night suit, or different things like that. That's what it's all about. Like, the dressing room is the best place ever to be.
Mm-hmm, but
maybe not for other people that are in the dressing room with me, because just slaughter them, as we Shankers will no doubt tell you.
But the spell at Ayers, the one I want to touch on, like your partner in crime probably was Mark Roberts. Like, just what was Mark like? Just obviously Wilson will want in this as well, but what was Mark like as a guy?
Brilliant guy, absolutely brilliant guy. Me and Marco just kind of hit it off right away. I knew Marco for playing against him, but I didn't know him personally, and we had a really good understanding. Like, I played midfield, and Marco was a striker that wanted to take the ball into feet. So he was my ideal striker. I used to play around the corner and we taught it in, roll me back, and we'd slip him in. It was like kind of telepathic without actually talking about it. We just done it because we were both decent players. But no, as a guy, he's brilliant. Funny boy. Daft as a brush, but some ability as a football player.
Shankers, what memories you got a Scotty? Like, just what was the kind of best stories you've got?
No, a lot of memories that I preferred wasn't playing football with him. It was just like in the team night suit in Newcastle and just in the dressing room and that. On a Sunday, it was fancy dress. You had to go to a charity shop and pick folks' clothes, and then you had to wear them. I was walking about with brogues with no socks on, with horrible blisters. It's horrendous, but that Sunday's crazy, man. He's just a drinking machine, man. You get to that stage of drunk, and you can't get anywhere drunk, and I think the first kick-off hadn't even kicked off on the Sunday afternoon yet. But
me and Moff
in the vests.
Me and Moff had the kitty, remember? And all the boys were wanting to get him for a kit. I was like, well, me and Moff have got the kitty, so just get him if he's wanting.
I think we come back out and use like that was just use were absolutely gone at that point. With these two wee old man's vests.
Jack Victor,
a 40 kicking about with that.
Everybody just gave us a wide berth after that.
Right.
Shankers, can you remember in training that time, but when you were playing up front against me and Andy Milne were playing at the back? And he came out, you went in to just kind of back her into Andy, and he dished an at and bang, cracked you. But right the back of the heat, right? And then you thought, all right, I'll come out and play in Scottish.
And you're just in the same. I was telling last week we were talking about Andy Milne, and I remember when I was at Ayr, we went down to Queen of the South. I think he might have been assistant manager, and it was a reserve game, and I was about 16, and I played against him, and I'm thinking, this old guy, man, I'm going to take him down the corners and that, and ball comes up the feet, you're trying to hold it in, big World Cup straight down your calf, that was it, trying to stay away from him the rest of the game. It was absolutely horrible. So
an absolute animal.
But what a good guy he is.
Brilliant guy.
Who were your kind of favourite teammates, like, Scotty, throughout your career? Like, who would just give you a brilliant laugh?
Marco was funny. Moff was funny.
Moff's brilliant, isn't he? He's just hilarious.
Hilarious, like just so funny, like just daft things. Kelso, the kit man, he was see when Marco was a manager, That was my best mate, Hitman. Wasn't it, Shankers? Me and Kers just kind of got a bit together.
See if we maybe get a bad result or something, and then you see his head peeking through that door. See the door through the showers. Do you see his head coming through by the window?
And then we had Slaney in that as well. Slaney was some laugh. Paul de Giacomo at Airdrie was some laugh and all. He just didn't care what people said about him. He was just, and I used to slaughter Jacko all the time. Like, he used to come in wearing like Timbies with the laces like hanging out them with tracky bottoms and a body warmer, and I'm like, why are you wearing your tramp? Right, slaughtering them. And he used to say to me all the time, Scotty, see if you want me to leave, get all the boys to sign the petition and I'll leave. Right? So then, see when boys started slaughtering Jacko would just go and see Scotty and sign the petition.
Brilliant. Wilson, what's the questions I've got?
Marco's just texted me one, but I don't know if I'm going to say it, to be honest, because I don't know what the answer's going to be. But as I say, and it was a great thing to have a great dressing room. What do you think went wrong for Marco at Ayr when he became the manager? It was just that transition from going from senior player to manager.
That was hard. That was hard for Marco, but I mean, he had a tough first season. I was away in his first season, but then I came back like his second season management. We finished fourth, so he done well. Like, we got to the playoffs, and that was when Rangers and Dunfermline were in it, and it was us and Stranraer were in the playoffs along with Dunfermline. So he done well that year, and then we got after a brilliant start the following year, and then we had a terrible run, and ultimately that's what cost Marco his job.
Sorry to interrupt, but Shankers, does Scotty ken the story about the physio?
Big kiss.
That's the best story ever.
You're the physio. That's what me and Kelso used to call him all the time, the physio. All the time. Right fizz.
He's a strap.
Aye. That's a classic.
But see, I've listened to Marco's interview. You Scott, like, see, he was going on about like resources and that. What he didn't have at that time, which is right, because see, like, when he went away and the next manager came in, like they I don't know if they went full time instantly or whatever. So they went full time and they're fine players, good money and big wages. So like, how can you have so tight a budget and then just open it right up? Like, there obviously was money there. There just wasn't what to give the money to spend.
That's happened at Queen's Park as well.
Colin Nash was in the show as well when he got the job at Cowdenbeath, and he said exactly the same thing. See, at part time, your budget's so low, like you can't date like compete against like teams like that are so high above you, because Colin Nash said as well, Cowdenbeath were in the championship at the time and they were getting hammered 10-0 Hearts. Like, the gap's so big.
Everything that happened, there was stuff going on behind Marco's back at Ayr as well. It was an absolute joke. He was getting stabbed in the back after. Remember Shankers, but the goals were getting hidden on that. Changed the goals up because they went to the youth team or something like that. So we weren't allowed to use the goals, and then Ian McCall came and the goals are set up. We're training on the park with poles.
Yeah, he's not got much
when I listened to his interview as well, he says about how he wishes he had Andy Millen in that his first year, which would probably been perfect, because obviously coming out for playing to coach and then having somebody as experienced as Andy, that he probably wishes. He said he wishes Andy was there. Which
see the thing is, but I think that was Marco's mistake, right? Marco's one of my good mates, but that was his mistake, because seeing your first in a job, the most powerful you're going to be in is day one, right? And he should have went, I want Andy in right now. No, you're taking Davy White. You should have said, no, I don't want Davy White, because I know Marco wouldn't have chose Davy White as the assistant. He should have went, no, I want to bring one man in. And that's it. So your first day in a job is when you've got all the power. So if you start off on the rank foot like that, then everything's going to happen. If you've not got your own man in, then you're kind of pissing against the wind.
The thing what I said, we haven't been the head of youth too, like when it all went tits up, like he was always going to have that job to fall back on, so he wasn't going to lose it out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas most teams you see, like if the manager goes, assistant 9 times out of 10 goes with him. So like, but he had that job to fall back on, so he wasn't going to lose it in if it went tits up, which it obviously eventually did.
he knew what he was doing by keeping on that head of youth.
Aye, the head of youth, I know. Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Because, as you said, when sacking's coming, he can just go back to being the youth or being more involved in the youth if he thinks results aren't going too good. He can just go back
ladders out.
Get the ladders and a warm up for 45 minutes. That's the answer to everyone. Get the ladders out. No bother, Davey. Ladder Thursday.
Oh, brilliant. That's one thing I loved it here. Marco's training and Andy Millen's training was quality because like you would go into the circle to start 9 times out of 10 you do a wee passing drill, possession, then into a game, or if you didn't do ladders.
Hey, else was good, but how good was seeing we went on the bus up to training? That was some laughing all, wasn't it?
That minibus.
Oh my god. Trying to convince Hutch to jump out it, remember?
He would do anything if you tell him.
You'll no do that. That's all you had to say. You'll no do that.
Aye, well, he'd threw the washing basket where all the kit went.
The best one was he headed the squeegee, remember? I was holding the squeegee going, you header that. He headed it. First all
Oh, brilliant.
Aye, that was like a good dressing room.
I remember Marco pulled Hudson, he's like, you need to stop doing all this daft things, you're going to get hurt. He's like, you need to tell them to stop telling me to do things.
Oh, he was nuts. He didn't drink today, man. That was the worst part. I wouldn't like to see him if he had a drink.
No, I know, some boy.
The other thing I was going to ask Scott was Mark as well. Marco raved when he first kind of went to Ayr and got the job and that. He raved about how good Alan Forrest was, and he said he, destined for the top. This guy's some ability, etc. And then he did well at Ayr. But I think with the way Marco spoke very highly about him, I moved to Livingston, maybe wasn't he? And it's a couple of years down the line for that. I think Mark thought he maybe be away earlier. And no disrespect to Livingston or Alan, but I think to a bigger team than Livingston. Was that a fair comment from Mark? He was really, really good, or was he maybe just struggled with injury apart?
No, I thought Forrest was brilliant. I mean, Forrest scored at Ibrox when he was still at school. Forrest scored at Ibrox and he was a brilliant mate. He was a brilliant boy as well. Forrest, like, listened to what people were saying to him, like, respected pros, and I thought he had great ability. And I'm a wee bit surprised that he's not maybe went further on, but he's still young and there's still time for him to do that.
Remember when he played at Ibrox and Davey said he was only 17. They said he's 17 and he played like a 27-year-old.
Oh no, God, man. Aye. I know. He's 17. He's 17. He plays like you're 19.
The local derby against Stranraer on the lights.
Oh my God! Remember, I wrote down all his quotes. I had about 100 quotes with Davy White.
A typical Scott Booth team.
Oh my God!
Typical
Scott Booth corners.
Oh man!
What a weapon!
Is he in to do with Uncle Brian, Scott?
You'd be better off with Uncle Brian, that's all I'm saying, alright? Tell Marco that.
That's a question from the audience. That's not my question, Scott.
Tell Mark Roberts, tell him we'd be better off Uncle Brian than Davy White.
So what's the plans now, Scotty? What you planning to get into kind of coaching or?
Nah, mate, not at all. I've been offered a couple of jobs to get into coaching and I knocked them back. It's not for me. Like I said, see I'm at a backstabbing and everything goes on in coaching. That's not me. I'm what you see is what you get. Mm-hmm. There's no real, as you probably told the last 10 minutes, there's no real filter in me. I just thought as I see it and But I think that's what players want. As I always wanted, just people to be honest with me. So I'm really enjoying the agent side of things now and try to help young lads and keep them on the straight and narrow and try and see what they can do in their career.
That's been great.
I'm surprised with that, with the coaching thing. I thought that would be something that you'd been to see, just because they like when I were in a dressing room with like the leadership type of things and like as a number two probably with the balance between like dressing room and players. I just thought that'd be something that you would do.
As I said, I've had offered it. I've been offered it, but right now the way I'm feeling, it's just I don't want it. It might change in a few years' time, but no, for me, a lot of people have said that to me, like they thought I'd be really keen in coaching, but I said no. For years I really did, and then see as you get older and you kind of see what happens behind the scenes, and you're like, why would you want that? Want to happen? Do you know what I mean? Unless you get a free run, I think there's someone's going to say, listen, you're getting 3 or 4 years at it, go and build what you want and try and do something, then you go and think about it. But see, just being in a job 6 months,
you don't got a lot of time, I know.
It just doesn't happen, you know what I mean?
But it's been great to be on, Scotty. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Brilliant stories there. Brilliant.
Plenty more where that came from, mate. Plenty more stories.
Anytime.
Dip my toe in the night.
Anytime you want to come on, mate, you're welcome.
One more questions.
Yes.
All right.
Go. Aye.
I've to ask Scotty his favourite card is.
The Ace of Spades.
The Ace of Spades.
I don't get these jokes. I'm only firing the bullets.
Me and Marco with the comrades. That's what we were.
Chase the Ace up the back of the bus.
Chase the Ace, remember? The Ace of Spades. Shout
the Ace of Spades.
Brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Just want to touch on the big game on Thursday night just before we go. Wilson, how is this the biggest game since 1998 for Scotland?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, apart from the play England, they're the biggest games regardless whether they're friendly or not. But yeah, and as I say, I was actually going to touch on that point earlier. You know, I genuinely think Scotland will beat them. I think Scotland can go there and get a result. I really do. My only slight issue is I'd be very worried if they play with the two Motherwell defenders at centre half and right back that played today with O'Donnell and Gallagher. I felt Celtic were tearing the two to shreds, and as I say, I think Serbia will probably have just as good as players as Celtic, to be honest. So that would be a worry for me. But I'll be honest, I'm pretty confident that Steve Clarke can just go. I don't think it'll be pretty to watch. I definitely don't. But I think they can go there and get a result.
Do you think going away from home suits Scotland?
No, well, again, it's pretty much the same. It probably actually suits now because there'll be no punters, because going to places like Serbia and Turkey and all that with the vociferous home fans, you know, maybe affect some players. And I feel Scotland maybe haven't had the best results because there's been no fans at Hampden. But I don't think they should have any fear now when an empty stadium and going there. Absolutely not.
Scotty,
Ryan Fraser's a bit of a blow.
He's a big loss. He's a big loss.
You're thinking, okay, well, we could just bring James Forrest in, but with him being injured as well, you might just have to tweak the shape a wee bit.
Scotty, what's your kind of thoughts of the game? Are you confident?
I think it's a tough game, but I think every game's kind of tough for Scotland. You can never say they're going to batter end it. Do you know what I mean? So I think it'll be tight, but it's going to be a hard one to win, and I just hope they can do it.
Shankers, who does he give Griffiths a start? Does he do what Lennon hasn't done and give him a go up front?
I don't think so. I think he's obviously a good weapon to have for, like, it's saying 0-0, half an hour to go, 20 minutes to go. It is, because you know if he gets a chance 19 out of 10 he's going to put it away. But I think it is too much for him to start him. He's not really had too many starts with Celtic now. So I think it's too much to ask to throw him in straight away. But it is obviously a good player to have for 20-30 minutes if you're chasing a goal, or even if it's level to go and get a goal to win it. But it's going to be
set pieces as well, Mark. Set pieces.
He's got a good dead ball for running about the box. I seen Serbia's maybe got a few players missing due to for whatever reason. A few players that would probably start in their team, but but they'll still have some quality to hurt Scotland.
Midweek
I'm
under
not
the
so
lights,
confident.
Shankers, eh?
Local derby in Serbia.
Brilliant. What's my predictions? I'll ask you everybody. Wilson, what's the prediction? What are we going for result-wise?
1-0 Scotland.
I'll go Scotland to win in penalties.
7-0 Scotland. I'll go, I don't know, maybe 1-0 Scotland. It'll be 1-0 either way, I think.
Nah, I think it'll be. I'm going to go with Shankers. I think Scotland could do it in penalties. I do think Serbia. I do think they've got a couple of good players like Milinkovic, Savic, Jovic as well. Jovic is a player I like.
Milinkovic, Savic is one of the ones that isn't going to be available.
Is he not playing?
That's a bonus.
I think he's in it. His brother, Robbie Savage. He's fit.
Oh, we need to just end it on that one.
We're ending the show there. We can't get any better than that. Scotty, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. I can't thank you enough for that. It's been great.
Oh, anytime,
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Back on anytime you want, mate. Back on and have you in a heartbeat.
Definitely, mate.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, boys. It's been great. Cheers.
Take care,
Cheers,
guys.
mate.
Thank you.